Hello, I'm Amy from the Kids Corner at the Downtown Farmers Market, and today we're going to make paper mache pumpkins. For today's craft, we need a few supplies, everything you should be able to find in your home. We need newspaper, we need a little bag, we need elastics or string, some water, some white flour, and a bowl and a fork to mix it. So to start, we need to make a form that we can put the paper mache over. So to do this, we're going to take our plastic bag, fill it up with some paper, and then use elastics to form it into a pumpkin shape. You can see that there's a lot of varieties of shapes here, and the not perfectness of it is part of what makes this look like a fun Halloween craft. Don't stress too much about making it perfectly round. Once I have enough paper to make the pumpkin the size I want, I just kind of squish it, make it a little bit more round, and then make a knot at the top of your bag. This here is going to be our stem, so you can just knot it a few times and then we'll use elastics to make it a little bit more the shape we want. There's my stem. Now I'm going to put elastics around this to make the lines that are on the pumpkin. And that is my pumpkin form. So now we're going to rip the paper to cover the pumpkin form. So when you're ripping paper, there's one way that you're going to rip and get perfect strips, and another way that's not going to work as well. So with the newspaper, it's always up and down. If you're using another piece of paper, you might need to experiment a little bit. Okay. So just rip strips of newspaper. Now you're going to want your pieces to be about this big. Any bigger and it makes a lot of bumps. So the next step is to make your glue that you'll glue your paper onto your form with. So with this, we're just using white flour and water. You can experiment a little bit with the consistency you want, but I like to start with about 1 cup of flour and 1.5 cups of water. So you might need to get your hands in there to get all the chunks mixed in. So this is definitely a messy craft. And that's what you want it to be like. Kind of I guess the consistency of white school glue. So our next step is now to get our piece of newspaper stuck on our form. So for this, you're just going to dip it in, rub off the excess, and start laying it on. The first layer is always the hardest layer, and it's probably going to end up being the sloppiest layer. A lot of the sloppiness you can fix in the layers after. And smooth it out a lot. Once you did about 2 layers of paper mache, you can leave it out overnight to dry. And then once it's dry, you want to do at least another 2 layers. You can do 2 layers at a time though. So if you do more than that, you'll have a stronger, harder pumpkin. So do as many layers as your kid has patience for. And then you have a dry, hard paper mache pumpkin that is ready to paint. So when your pumpkin's all dry, you can paint it with acrylic paint. Tempera paint would also work. If you need some inspiration of faces, I suggest that you look up vintage paper mache pumpkins and get some ideas from seeing some pictures of those. And have fun painting a pumpkin.